What's up? Opex here. Sorry for that little excitement. However, I'm a little excited today. It's a beautiful day in, where am I? Missouri. That's right. I'm in Missouri. Early morning, I just took a shower, and I drink this thing because, well, I'm addicted to this stuff for some reason. It's got to be the sugar or something, but this is like my coffee, so I'm just waking up right now. But about 90% of my videos, probably more, happen within the first 30 to 40 minutes of me waking up. Because I just wake up and I'm like, duh, and then all of a sudden, the second I start thinking again, you know, like you start waking up, I'm like, oh, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about that. Well, you're focused right now on the mind of Opex. This series of the mind of Opex is basically just my mind. Nothing else. I'm not out there to look up Wikipedia shit and, you know, fact check everything and stuff of that nature. If you're looking for sources in science and stuff like that, go somewhere else, because there's a billion channels like that. If you want to find something unique and something that's higher consciousness to oneself, check me out, because I'm definitely unique, and there's no one else out there like me. Just like there's no one else out there like you, unless you're trying to pick that character role that you've seen in others. But that's not what today's channel's about, or today's video's about. Today's video's about my thoughts between sympathy and empathy. And I have to say, I get appalled whenever somebody uses sympathy. I'm sorry. I will state my case behind it. And I'll defend it till I die, because that I'm passionate about it. And I know the feeling I get when somebody sympathizes for somebody else. It's too fake for me. It's too fake. Let me explain. If your dog dies and somebody else had a cat that died, and you're like, well, this person had a cat die, and they came up to you and was like, my cat died, I'm not feeling good inside, I love this cat, and you're like, yeah, about 10 years ago my dog died, and I know exactly how you feel. Well, that's cool to maintain some sort of balance, or some sort of like pursuance of the conversation, but you're not really there with them. You know what I mean? And I feel like if you're more empathetic, and instead of saying my dog died 10 years ago, so that sympathizes or gives you some sort of understanding that I kind of know what you're going through, that doesn't truly tell you what you're going through, and there's no emphasis that's logical in that, other than you had a similar experience years ago or yesterday. It doesn't matter how long ago. But their experience is personal. You might have had a dog that died and you cared for him and shit, but this person with their cat died could have been much more deeper, and or more than that, unique. It was a family pet. The whole family loved it. Fuck, let's say it drove the family to depression or something. You know, you don't truly know what they're going through if you're just trying to say your experience. That is not being real. And like I said before, sympathy is appalling to me. I find it disgraceful. But there's a lot of things I find disgraceful, and there's a lot of things I find, you know, that's lovely and joyful. But this sympathy that I'm seeing from everyone, over 95% of people I've met, sympathizes instead of emphasize. I don't know the exact phrase, but empathy is something that, as an empath myself, when I can feel other people at such a deep level, I understand where they're coming from because I feel it from them. You understand? Sympathy only continues the conversation. It makes you look like you're not a complete douchebag. So it's like a cover-up of being a douchebag in my eyes. I was at my uncle's funeral maybe 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. And it was one of the only, I think it was the only funeral I've ever went to in my adult life. And it was my uncle. And I really cared for the guy. And I cried. I love this guy. This guy was awesome to me. He was a big part. He wasn't the biggest part of my childhood. But he was there, and I seen his soul, and I know who he was, and you know, I cared for him deeply. And I just thought about what, you know, his wife's going through, what his children are going through. He has 2 sons and a daughter. So I go to the funeral because I couldn't, my heart said I had to go to his funeral, so I took off work, and, you know, I went to his funeral, and, well, I go into his funeral, and the first person I see is my cousin, my uncle's son. And he wasn't the very first person I saw, but he was the first person I had to actually interact with at that level. And the first thing I saw from him was that he was trying to smile and act like everything's okay. He didn't have a tear in his eye. And, well, the first thing I did when I saw him in his eyes, and I felt what he was actually feeling, as an empath, I can do this. And you can too if you increase your awareness in your heart. But when I felt him, I started crying. He had a smile on his face. His dad died. I'm the one fucking crying. And he said, "It's all good, man, it's all good," or something like that. I don't remember exactly what he was trying to say, but he was, the epitome of what he was saying was trying to say, it's okay, I'm getting through it. And, you know, I felt what he was feeling, and he was trying to cover it up with a smile. He didn't run out of tears. He was trying to hold back so he can be presentable to his family and friends and such. But I felt what he was feeling, and because I was empathetic with him, and I'm not saying, you know, you might be taking this as, dude, you started crying, he was fine, dude. Wake up, get out of that trance. You know, you're trying to make him more sad than he actually is or some shit. No. I felt what he was feeling, because I do this every day. I know what you're feeling if you were right in front of me, even if you were 100 yards away. I feel what you're feeling. And when this is occurring and shit, you know, I feel better about myself being empathetic instead of going up to him and be like, yeah, man, it's all gonna be all right. It's all gonna be all right. You know, and being sympathetic and agreeing with him that, you know, he's gonna get through it and shit. Dude, that's your fucking father that died, man. I could not even, I can't sympathize with that. I can't sympathize with that, you know? And that's a good example of empathy also being much more real than sympathy. If I was to be sympathetic with him in that terrible predicament, I'd feel like a douchebag, especially knowing what I know and feeling what I feel. I was on my real path where I can't be fake anymore and such like that. I was on my real path maybe 2 years prior to that. So I think about 7 years actually is where my enlightenment started. And you know, once your mind goes to a different dimension, or you increase the consciousness of yourself, you can't just go back to lower consciousness. You just can't. once you've ascended, you can't just start descending. You can't do it. That's why when you're going up to, I know I'm going off topic a lot, but when you're graduating high school, there's a huge chunk of people, the majority of people, that lose their will to learn anymore. Huge chunk of people that just say, oh, I learned it all, now let me get into real life and stop there. They don't increase their awareness, they don't increase their consciousness, they don't increase their intelligence or their knowledge or whatever. They don't thirst for it anymore because they got out of high school. So they stop there. And then there's other people that pursue, and you should be pursuing till the day you die. Because you should be ascending. You should start becoming your greatest version of yourself. And the way to do that is to look at yourself in the mirror today and say, have you ascended since yesterday? Have you gotten better since yesterday? And I know most people are thinking that's a metaphor, but if you truly did that, and you made it a goal to be your greatest version, anyone, you know, look at LeBron James. I know I'm going off topic. Look at LeBron James. Do you honestly think that he was born and he was the best basketball player ever? No, he actually, with all his gifts and his ideas of basically, I can do it, I can make it, I have the qualities and skills, he can do it. So if you're trying to say, I can't be empathetic, I'm this way, you can be empathetic. It's actually natural. It's natural to say you can do it, but you've been force-fed to believe that you can't do it. If LeBron James believed he can't do it, or he would never be as good as Michael Jordan, or you name it, ex-basketball player, if he thought he was never going to ever be able to get there, or if it was going to be too hard for him, he probably would have never done it. But he believed in himself. And you can say anybody, you know, Lance Armstrong with fucking biking, or you name it. You name the person who did it. They didn't do it because they said it was going to be too hard. Except JFK with the Man on the Moon speech. We don't want to go to the moon because it's easy. We want to go to the moon because it's hard. Something like that, right? Minus that speech, which is complete horseshit anyways. Empathy is gratitude, and it's ascension, and it's caring, and it's a lot of positive qualities. Sympathy to me is like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Is like hiding from something bad and mistaking it for something. It's like candy. When you give candy to a baby, it's disguised as something sweet and good, but it covers up diabetes and you name it, you know, affecting your health, your cardio. And that's what I'm trying to get at. What you're covering up using sympathy is that you are a douchebag and you feel nothing for him. That's what you're covering up. I hope that hits you deep, and I hope you understand my empathy thing, and disregard the side tangents if it doesn't make sense for you. This is the Mind of Opex. I just wanted to say a quick thing about empathy versus sympathy, because, well, I think I have a lot more videos to go through today because I am in a talkative mood. So this is one video. If you see me wearing the same clothing and shit all video, it's because I'm making multiple videos today and I'm in that kind of mood. I'm going to change a few things with my channel. One thing being, I'm going to change everything into series. I'm going to put series, I mean, when I have the time for it. Today I actually have time for it, because I'm only driving like 4 hours today. It's like the shortest day ever for me. So I'm going to probably record a few more things. I have a few more types of series I want to get out there, but this is the Mind of Opex series. So when you see the Mind of Opex in the title, you understand that this is not philosophy, this is not logic and reason, this is not facts or disinformation. This is clearly just what pops into my head and I spew it out to you. Without further ado, peace.